And Bernie Sanders may not get the Democratic nomination, but that doesn't mean Democrats don't want him to play a major role in the future of the Democratic Party. Now, this is according to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, which shows that more than 3/4 of Democrats say that Bernie Sanders should have a major role in shaping the party's positions. Now, interestingly enough, and before I kind of break this all down, another part of the poll said that nearly 2/3 say Hillary Clinton should pick Bernie Sanders as her vice presidential running mate. Now, of course, I know that's not going to happen. They're very, very different in policy, right? You look at the policy positions between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, it's not just minor differences like we had with Obama and Clinton, right? They essentially ran on nearly the same thing. The biggest difference was the inclusion of an individual mandate. Now, surprisingly enough, Barack Obama was against the individual mandate for Obamacare. I wonder if we have an individual mandate or not. That's really a pretty small policy difference. When it comes to the policies, they are essentially the same. Sort of centrist, sort of right on some issues, left on some of the social issues. You know, not that big of a difference. But when you look at the differences between Clinton and Bernie Sanders, it's a gulf. It's not just a little divide. It's a gulf. It's huge, or as Bernie Sanders would say, huge. Big, big difference. I mean, look, when it comes to healthcare, for example, and that's probably the biggest example of this, you have a for-profit health insurance reform, which Hillary Clinton says, I will continue to keep it, but I will vaguely expand upon it. Okay, yeah. Expand what? I don't really see much expansion that's going to happen under Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? I ain't got no crystal ball. But I just don't see her really doing a whole lot, especially if we end up with a Republican Congress. And in that case, neither Bernie Sanders nor Hillary Clinton could ever get anything done because they would be blocked on pretty much everything. But let's focus, right, on the issue of what kind of healthcare system both candidates would actually want. Well, Hillary Clinton, just a continuation of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. And then you have Bernie Sanders, which says, no, we're going to torch that system. And we're going to say Medicare for all, immediately. Well, there would be no need for for-profit health insurance if everybody had access to Medicare for all. That is a significant difference. You're essentially saying, hey, private insurance, fuck off. You're done. We're done with you. Okay, get out of here. Pack your shit and go home. And take your profits and stuff them up your ass. Because we're going to go for a Medicare for all. Now, of course, there might be the existence of private health insurance afterwards, but what role would they really take in the market? I mean, this is a significant upending of the system. And this is why, of course, the Democratic establishment, funded by health insurance corporations, didn't like that idea and lobbied so hard against it and used places like the Washington Post and the Tax Policy Center, which, by the way, is funded by the Pete Peterson Foundation. Peter G. Peterson, I think. Anyway, that's a mouthful, right? Oh, that is so wrong. Mouthful of Peter. Anyway, using the Pete Peterson Foundation, right, to put out these faulty studies written by the Tax Policy Foundation, which they're all connected, right, to say that, no, we can't have Medicare for all. It would be too expensive, and it wouldn't work. Well, we have examples of where it does work. In pretty much every industrialized country, every modern day country, it works. It works. So you've got these right-wing kind of think tanks and stuff funding these bullshit studies. The Washington Post will post this shit just to say that Bernie Sanders is wrong, we shouldn't vote for him, we shouldn't take him seriously. And it's all connected to, guess what? The money. You got to follow the money. Of course. Because you always know where it's going to end up when you see who's funding who, right? And the establishment was funding Hillary Clinton to the hill. And so there they are, differences on policy. And that's why, of course, she would never tap him for VP. It just wouldn't happen. She wants him to go quietly into that long night. And he says, no, I'm not going to do that. And no matter what you like try to give me, what you try to offer me to get me to shut up and fold, well, I'm not going to do it. Maybe unless she compromises on policy, which is essentially what Bernie Sanders is asking for. Now, can we trust her to do that? Well, that's a different conversation. I think a lot of us don't trust that Hillary Clinton will listen to us like she listens to the rich donors. But anyway, that's my thoughts on why I really don't think she would pick him as a running mate. It would, to be honest, it would make no sense. And I don't even know if Bernie Sanders would accept. I think to a lot of people, especially Bernie or bust people, they'd be like, well, Bernie Sanders is dead. He would never go along with the establishment. But anyway, now, most Democrats are actually a little bit more hopeful than a lot of the Bernie or bust crowd. In fact, 2/3 said that Sanders should endorse Clinton. Okay, in order to beat Donald Trump. Now, I'm not to that stage, okay? I'm not going to endorse Hillary Clinton. But if anything, I'm going to go hard against Donald Trump. Because right there, that is the clear and present danger. You can go after Trump without endorsing Clinton. And if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter that wants to vote for Trump, I don't know, man. I don't agree with you, okay? Especially if you agree with his positions, well, then there might be some problems. If you want to burn down the establishment, you want to burn down the system, maybe we shouldn't take that quite so literally, because you're going to burn the goddamn house down. You're going to let Trump have the nuclear codes. Is there going to be a world left after Donald Trump? And I know that's her hyperbole. I know that sounds crazy, but remember, Donald Trump, he's kind of nuts. I'm just saying. Anyway, now, is there more stuff in this poll? No, that actually is pretty much the poll. Now, it only polled about 455 respondents and has a measure of accuracy of 5.3%. So that's a relatively small sample size. And I'm guessing they didn't poll a lot of Bernie or busters, right? So, that's a thing. They might want to come back with a larger sample size to, come back and actually have these results to see if most of the Democratic Party would indeed want Bernie Sanders to play a major role. I do. I want him to play a huge role in the Democratic Party. I want him to help shape this platform. I want him to push the Democratic Party, not just Hillary Clinton, but the entire Democratic Party to actually adopt progressive positions. $15 minimum wage, combating wealth inequality, moving towards a single-payer healthcare system. Okay, so incrementalism sucks, right? I don't like the policy of incrementalism, but if we have to have it, then I would rather incrementally go towards a more progressive system than incrementally go towards a less progressive system, which unfortunately is where most of the time incrementalism tends to lead us. So we need Sanders to help shape the party. We need people like Cornel West, Keith Ellison, and other strong progressives to go and push the party back to the left. And at the end of the day, that's why Bernie Sanders ran as a Democrat. He didn't do it just for the media. Yes, that was a super, super important part of that. And the media, of course, took that out of context and said, well, you see, he's just doing it for the media attention. Bernie Sanders is way too honest for his own good sometimes. Yes, and that's an important part of it. If he ran as a third party, he really wouldn't be able to get as much attention as he did running as a Democrat. But it's not just because of that. He actually genuinely wants to push the party in a more progressive direction. And it seems like if this poll is any sort of indication, I think the rest of the party wants to also go in that same direction. And I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of a good thing.